Welcome, listeners, to another episode of Panel Pals, the comic book podcast for thinkers. We're your hosts, Diane Hitchings.
And Jack Stewartson.
So, Jack, how you doing today?
Good, not bad. Had a nice day off. How about you?
Oh, excellent. I just got home from work.
Awesome.
Busy day, busy life. We are recording this just after Easter. Did you have a nice Easter? Do anything fun? Eat chocolate?
Probably ate too much. Yeah, I had dinner with my folks and my partner. It was nice. It was good. And my Nana was there too. It was all good. We painted eggs. We did our annual egg contest. It was good.
Hell yeah. I spent most of the Easter weekend working. Awesome.
Great.
But I did have a Sunday off and it was plus 18, so I'm not going to complain.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah, we're finally into the positives here in Alberta too. Although we're supposed to get one more snowfall this week.
Of course. So it's April. Why would it not stop snowing? Yeah, no, I sent a picture of how nice it was to my family, being like, I'm going to go for a bike ride today. And then I got a picture back of fresh snow on top of a vehicle.
Great.
And I'm like, yeah, nice. But, you know, I can't flex too much. It was raining today. It wasn't supposed to rain. It rained on my way home from work as I was biking.
Oh, gross.
Didn't have my rain pants on, but that's okay.
Double gross.
It's just like that sometimes. But can't complain. It's above zero. It's not actively snowing, so we're having a great time.
That's great.
Yeah.
This week, I know you like talking about picking up issues of Backy or volumes of Backy. Interest to this podcast, a couple months ago, you mentioned that you wanted to read a European comic by Hugo Pratt. Fantagraphics has been reprinting those. They're the Adventures of Corto Maltese, and
yes,
I pre-ordered the first edition that they've put out. Corto Maltese, Fable of Venice, and Other Adventures, and it finally came in. So I'm holding it in my hand right now. I'm going to read it once we're done the episode. It's really nice looking.
Oh, excellent. That's so nice. Cool. Oh, okay. Good to know that is back in print. I would love to read it. It looks really cool.
It's really cool.
Yay. Have you read it before?
I've tried. The University of Alberta had a copy of the first volume called The Ballad of the Salted Sea. The problem is it was in Spanish, so I could look at the pictures, but I could never actually read the thing. And now they're coming out with The Ballad of the Salted Sea. That one comes out in October, so I'll finally be able to read that. In addition to this nice one too.
Yay, beautiful. We love spending our hard-earned money on comics. Yeah. Yes, no, last weekend I did my monthly escapades to the bookstore to order the next two Backy volumes. So those will be arriving to my house sometime in the next week. Very excited. You know, good stuff.
It's great.
Comics.
What are they up to now? They're up to like 16, right? Or something like that?
I am going to get, I think, 13 and 14.
Okay, yeah.
But like they're double volumes, so like whatever. It's we're at the tournament arc already. It's great. I'm so excited. You can see what the actual official translations are.
Very fun.
Yeah. Anyways, into the episode of the comic we're actually going to talk about today, which is very different than Corto Maltese or Backy. Today, this episode is a little gift to Jack, since he's mentioned many times that he enjoys shoujo manga, and I have been overwhelmingly talking about shonen and seinen series. So yay, we're going to talk about shoujo today. Jack, before we get started, what about shoujo do you enjoy? Why'd you like it as a genre? Well, not a genre.
I really like the line art. Like, I've described this in class, and I appreciate that it's a dated term, but I like the feminine line of shoujo art. Which, I don't know how you describe it. It's just a mood to me. I like how everything is nice and clean. I like how they use like sparkle effects and stuff on a page, usually through like tones. And as cheesy as it may sound, I do like a romance plot, even if it doesn't end up going anywhere. It does kind of give me butterflies in my stomach, and I like that. It's kind of comforting. Yeah, I like all of that about shoujo manga.
Yeah. So you're a fan of like the aesthetic and the story choices.
Sometimes, like, with caveats. but
Yeah, of
usually,
course.
yes.
Yeah, of course. Well, yeah, there's caveats about everything. I like shonen manga with caveats of like some series piss me off. Which, we've talked about some and we'll talk about more, I promise. But yes, today, shoujo. And like I accidentally said in the opening, for all listeners who might not be super familiar with shoujo is not a genre. It's a demographic. Shoujo is the kind of like the sister demographic to shonen, where shonen is for young boys, shoujo is for young girls, and then we have seinen, which is for adult men, and then josei for adult women. I know a lot of people often refer to shonen as like a genre, and I think we fall into this trap too, talking, like I often do. We talk about like shonen as it automatically means like shonen battle series or like specifically One Piece.
Right,
but
it's a demographic.
Yeah, these are demographics. And shoujo is a demographic for about like teen girls. It's after the kid demographic, but before the adult demographic. And it doesn't just mean like the genre of girly romance high school drama, or like specifically Sailor Moon. It's a very broad range of genres, as we can see with the author of our comic of choice for this week, Clamp. So before we talk about the comic of the week, we're going to talk about the creators. Clamp is a mangaka group formed in the 80s, originally consisting of 12 members. By the time their first original serialized manga, R.G. Veda, came out in 1989, the group was down to 7 members, and now there are currently only 4 members of the group. In the 90s, they released a lot of series, most famously Cardcaptor Sakura, which I'm sure everyone has at least heard of. In the 2000s, their biggest hit was probably Chobits, which is interesting because Chobits is not technically shoujo, it's seinen, which confused me a lot when I first read Chobits and then realized it was some Clamp. I was like, wait, this is different. In the 2000s, they also provided character designs for the anime Code Geass, which makes a lot of sense if you've ever even seen one frame of Code Geass. It's very Clamp aesthetic. And Clamp continues to create manga to this day, having a robust collection of work under their belts in various genres, all of which has collectively sold over 100 million volumes. And today, we're going to talk about their series Wish. Wish is a shoujo series produced by Clamp from 1995 to 1998, comprising of 23 chapters and a few bonus chapters, all compiled into 4 volumes. The story takes place when 28-year-old doctor Shuichiro Kudo saves the angel Kohaku from a crow attacking them in a tree, and this leaves Kohaku in his debt. The angel vows to grant Shuichiro one wish and won't leave until repaying that wish. But the problem is, Shuichiro doesn't have any wishes, so Kohaku says they'll stay with him until he can think of a wish. There's also other subplots that revolve around the other characters, including the demon Koruyo, who says they like to bully Kohaku, the angel Hisui, and then Satan's son Kokuyo. Both of them ran away from heaven and hell respectively to be together on Earth. All in all, it's a short and sweet series about love, duty, soulmates, and the journey of discovering what one holds most dear. What do you think about this little series, Jack?
I think I liked it.
Yay.
I think it's an interesting kind of counterpoint to your last hosted episode on Hellsing. I think this is sort of a almost inverse of that series, both in tone and in subject matter, which made it fascinating to read. I mean, Clamp speaks for themselves. They're a cottage industry at this point. Their artwork is infallible, even if I take issue in the fact that they don't draw backgrounds. Their character design is incredible, and it comes across on the page. Yeah, lots to like. Maybe some things to point out, but we'll get into that as we keep going.
Yeah, I like how you brought up the last episode where we talked about, that I hosted, we were talking about Hellsing, because I found a parallel between this and Hellsing that I wanna ask you about. So, in the Hellsing episode, you said that younger you would have found it so cringe, the art style, or did find that general 90s art style so cringe of, like all the tall, skinny, pretty, kind of androgynous boys with their super skinny pants and all that. Tell me how that is different than shoujo art. Because that's just shoujo art.
It totally is. This is drawn to appeal to young girls, which means tall, pretty men, ? And I would have hated this as a kid. I've turned a different leaf though. I think that these are great, even though they're very simple. These are great character designs.
Yeah, because I'm like, I haven't written my notes. I'm like, aesthetically, Is there really any substantive difference between the character design and visuals of Hellsing and the characters in Wish, as they are all tall, skinny, androgynous looking, pretty?
Less belts and overcoats, which as a kid I would have liked the overcoats a little bit more, but now
but like
it's still good.
Yeah, like there's like the demon characters in Wish. They have like pretty like their outfits are black. Their outfits are kind of edgy, kind of
totally.
Yeah. Just like, how this is exactly like a Hellsing. Honestly, there's actually multiple reasons why this is actually kind of similar to Hellsing, which I think is funny to me. One of the things that I like that Clamp does is they often like reuse characters in their series.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever noticed that reading Clamp stuff?
I can't say I've noticed, just because, like, I don't know, they all kind of look similar anyway. But
kind of look the same. Yeah.
That's not uncommon for comics in general, right? Like,
no. Yeah. I love it. I love it when I love it when like creators reuse characters. I think it's really funny. I do that all the time. Even if I just like put some of my little guys in the background of another comic, be like, yeah, there you go. Now I made the crowd look a little more interesting. But no, I'm like, if you made these characters and you spent time and effort coming up with a character design, you might as well reuse them. Yeah. Which is funny because, fun fact, the creator of Hellsing also did that. Which I think is even funnier because his earlier works were just hentai. So, like, the characters in Hellsing are just reused hentai characters, kind of. Which is only vaguely related to what we'll talk about later in this episode. But, yeah. Into talking about the art. You said that the Clamp art is infallible and it's great. Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. Big enjoyer of the Clamp style?
I mean, the whole thing about shoujo manga is you have to be able to draw a wide amount of facial expressions and poses. And Clamp is able to do that in a number of different, 2 different modes, I should say. They do chibi and they do quote unquote realistic, and they do it absurdly well. They're, again, unparalleled. And it helps sell the emotionality of these, in this case, divine epics, right? Like, you get that everybody is feeling things all the time in a sort of heightened version of reality. And it looks great, and it's very readable.
Interesting. Because, like, I was going to say that what I don't think one of the strengths of shoujo art is, like, the expressivity of it. Like, because, in shonen stuff, a lot of the times the characters are allowed to look not pretty. And so you can, like, warp the expressions to heighten the expressions. One Piece is a great example of this. If you've ever seen, like, memes of the One Piece characters crying. So I often find that, like, in shoujo arts, the characters often come across as kind of stiff and their expressions not very large because, like, if you look at their Wish, is there any of the characters ever look ugly?
No.
They gotta stay pretty.
They're not allowed to.
They gotta stay pretty with their nice jawlines and their the same proportions on their face and their pretty little mouths and their pretty eyes and the big eyelashes. Yeah.
Small noses. Yeah.
Yeah. But like that's interesting because I always find it's a little harder to get across all those emotions. But interesting that you find like the exact opposite, that they get the emotions across.
I think it's like certainly it's more subtle than a cartoony-ish than you might find in like a One Piece or an American English slice of life comic, but it's there, right? Like you can see pain in people's expressions, even if they're not having tears streak down their face. Sometimes they do have tears streaking down their face also.
Very true. Yeah. And I know art style, great. It's so, I don't know if it's just nostalgic for like our age of person to like look at this and be like, wow, I enjoy this because it reminds me of like a simpler time. Yeah.
2003, I didn't have to pay taxes.
Or like, I feel like a lot of people who start drawing and they have manga as their impetus instead of like Western comics, a lot of their earlier stuff looks like this because this is stuff they read pretty early. Like I know when I first started drawing characters like influenced by manga art, it was a lot of the small nose and the Dorito face shape and the small lips
big
on
eyes.
The girls. Yeah.
Big intricate eyes, I should say.
Yeah. And the tall hair which I mean is like a staple of like a lot of genres and demographics of manga, but like specifically those like soft straight bangs and then like the long hair. Yeah, it looks great. It's so cool. An interesting fact, which I don't know if you know, but the four main, quote unquote, main members of Clamp, the ones that are still part of Clamp, apparently none of them have any real professional art education. Like some of them took like art classes in high school, but none of them took like university art degrees. They weren't assistants for other mangaka before they began Clamp, so like most of it is self-taught.
That makes sense. I'm surprised that they weren't doing assistant work for other mangaka, but their aesthetic is so wholly them. Like you could just tell by looking at anything if it's a Clamp thing or especially if it's a post-Clamp thing, right? Like there's plenty of other manga and anime that have taken influence from the Clamp style, the design aesthetic. Like it's so wholly original. That kind of makes sense to me. I'm shocked that they haven't worked on comics before this. Yeah, that kind of maybe explains some of their early storytelling. Again, they don't draw backgrounds, and that's like you learn that in art school pretty damn quick. But
yeah. But like I like how you're like it's really very them style, which is very funny to say when you have a series and like series of works that are not drawn by one person, but like a collection of people.
Right.
So like I mean their art styles are then they very cohesive. It works together. Do you know like vaguely how it works for like how they produce stuff? Like who does the drawing and stuff?
No, yeah. I would love to learn. I only know that they are a group. They are a collective. It's not one guy named Clamp.
No. It's and also I don't know if I mentioned this, but I don't know if I guess people probably don't know this. Clamp, they're all female members.
Right.
So kind of how it works is like one of them is more of like the ideas person, comes up with the stories, does some storyboarding and stuff, and then the other three are the drawers. There's one that does most of like the main characters, one does more the chibi characters, but like the roles for each of them change on projects. But yeah, interesting that there's like one person who's not really drawing and then the other three who do most of like the final art.
That kind of makes sense from like an organization standpoint.
Yeah.
Though. Like you don't want to get in each other's way all the time. In Western comics, there's I think they're Japanese. There's a Japanese group that does a similar thing, Gurihiru, and it's an all-female, I think it's a trio who do comics art, admittedly for the West and in a more manga influenced style, but same sort of rules, right? Like it's not one guy drawing.
Yeah. Would I know any of the series by this group?
They're probably most popular for they did a reinvention of Power Pack in the early 2000s, but they've worked on a lot of stuff. They do girl comics. They do Gwenpool and Squirrel Girl and Jeff the Land Shark. That's sort of their main focus. I like their work a lot. I try and pick up anything that they do. They're kind of neat.
Yeah. What are your thoughts of this sort of artist collective?
I think proof is in the pudding. Like you're able to get out a broader, bigger output. And from what I've seen, at least in these two examples, it's of a high quality, like it's of a professional quality. And I like them. I do like the aesthetic of both of those. I think they are rare though for a reason. I'm sure like all artists are egotists in some way. So I think people do maybe have a chance of getting in each other's way, but I don't know. I don't see why it can't work.
Yeah. Like the concept of Clamp to me is so cool. Like just have a bunch of girlies, like it just vibes well and you're able to produce this awesome stuff. That sounds so fun. But I just know me personally, I am such a control freak that I wouldn't want anyone else touching my thing. Except for maybe someone to color it because like whatever, I don't like coloring. But like the idea of like somebody being like, I came up with an idea. You should draw this, or me coming up with an idea and someone being like, I'll draw some of the characters for you. I'd be like, no, don't touch my thing. It's mine.
Like you're even against other people inking your work. Am I correct in that assumption?
Yeah, I don't like that.
Yeah.
It looks different.
It looks different. Yeah.
For example, one time my sister and I worked together to draw a birthday card for my dad. Like we often draw like little comics for birthday cards. And she did the pencils and I did the inking. And it was such a weird, it was so weird to look at when it was completed. Because we both look at it and we're like, it's not quite either of our styles. And we were like, what happened? What is this weird amalgamation? Yeah, and it's like, oh, you could see like the underlying style that she drew, and then it was like, it was edited a little bit into my style through the inks, and it was like, weird.
And again, in Western comics, that's a normal practice. Also,
that's what everything is. Yeah,
you have a penciler and an inker, or sometimes you have, and I'm against this, you have a layout artist, then a penciler, and then an inker. And all three of them are trying to work together to draw one 22-page thing.
Yeah.
And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but...
Like, on the bright side, then, like, each person has, I guess, less work to do. Because,
right.
like, yeah, if one person is doing a 20-page comic a week, insane. This is why there's crazy burnout for mangaka. And that's why, like, assistants exist. Which is, like, a similar thing to, like... I don't want to say it's similar to like the conveyor belt way of doing comics in the West sometimes, but like, you know, I've mentioned this before. In One Piece, Oda draws the characters and assistants help do the backgrounds, because if you are literally the most popular, richest mangaka ever, why not have some help to draw the backgrounds so you can draw your characters? Yeah, exactly. You can afford it. Yeah, help other people can do stuff. So yeah, I really like the concept. I just know it wouldn't work for me. But I know it would totally help to like have a higher production. And then you have this built-in like people can like edit. Because if you're working completely solo, who's there to tell you, hey, you should edit, or maybe don't do that, or maybe be better?
Right, yes.
Yeah, which, you know, writers need a little bit more. Writers need to be more open. to being like, okay, fine, this idea wasn't great, I'll have to axe it. I say that full well knowing that I'm that person who's like, no, I will not change anything.
But again, that's more a job of an editor, less so a fellow collaborator. Which, again, I've seen works where it's multiple writers on one comic, followed by a penciler or two pencilers, right? It can work.
Yeah, anyways. Back to Wish. Yeah, a couple of things, notes I made about the art that you have touched on. I have written lots of white space, which I think you phrased as they don't draw backgrounds.
Yeah, it's not a problem unique. I'm willing to give them the benefit of the doubt. This is not a problem unique to Wish. It's not a problem unique to shoujo manga.
No.
But lots of white space. And it looks fine. Like, there's enough tones and black inks on a page to make up for it, I think, to still make each panel kind of stick out.
Yeah. And, like, I know when I first went to comic school and learned about making comics and saw the big difference between Western comics and manga, one of the main notes I noticed was, yeah, in American comics, people are like, I am drawing a background, no matter what. Always background. Blank space? No. Just a screen tone? Nah, fuck that. We're drawing the whole room in the background. And I'm like, no. No thanks.
Again, now for folks like us who are singular artists who work on who do literally all the work, a little forgivable. Again, Clamp is a studio. You think one of these gals could learn to draw a background,
well,
but...
Okay, one of them does do backgrounds, and there are backgrounds, okay? There are backgrounds. There's just... There's some beautiful backgrounds of, like, trees and, like, the property that they live on. It's
like inside a Japanese-style house, yeah.
Yeah, no, beautiful backgrounds. But, like, that's not the important thing. The important thing is the beautiful hair and the big eyes. So who was going to waste their time? Yeah.
Nobody's looking at that stuff. I get that. No, I totally get that. It's forgivable.
People are here for it. Yeah. One of the things I also noted is one of the things that I like most about shoujo, and specifically this type of shoujo, is, I don't want to say it's like the chaotic paneling, but like it's very unstandardized. Like, there is no 9-panel grid in here at all. There's pages, there's characters that are like not in a panel, or they're overlapping panels. There's some of the gutters are just randomly different sizes as 2 panels are beside each other, and you're like, hey, why does one have like half an inch underneath it as a gutter and one has a 1/4 inch a gutter underneath it? Who knows? Who cares? I like that kind of paneling, which I'm sure people have been able to notice from the fact that I always call out 9-panel grids for being boring and lame.
I'm a fan of the non-sterile paneling too. I think
Yeah.
it's more exciting to read.
It gives it such a beautiful flow.
Yes.
Especially because a lot of these characters have like flowing hair or flowing clothes, and it just gives it a better movement to the page. And I think that also helps with like something that has not much background art and stuff. For example, something like, let's say, Watchman has, detailed backgrounds in every panel. If something like that with a 9-panel grid was treated with like Wish, where there's just no backgrounds, it would look so empty and so strange. So I think like this type of paneling where you have just more dynamic poses and like clothing and the characters are just like outside a panel sometimes, it really helps to make it feel less empty, even with all that white space.
Yes. And similarly, again, even though there's no backgrounds, use of action lines a lot, especially in this compared to other shoujo manga, it makes the reading experience so kinetic. Like, this one went down smooth, folks. It's a good one.
Yeah, and yeah, it's pretty. It's very pretty to look at. I enjoy, even though this type of art style is not my favorite type of art style. It's still great to look at. So shiny.
Yes, yeah, that's a great way to put it. It's shiny.
So shiny. Yeah. For the story, thoughts? You mentioned that maybe there were some things that could be improved on.
I think the initial premise is, while not completely original, is still something that is fascinating, especially if you grew up religious and you maybe have questions about dogma. This is about an angel falling in love with a human, which is territory that is, like, I guess universal if they're doing it in Japan. Not that, I mean, they have Catholicism in Japan or whatever, but it is interesting.
I wouldn't say this is very strictly sticking to...
No, and I was going to bring that up too. Does not follow the hierarchy of the cosmos as I certainly grew up with it. I don't know how familiar you are with pseudo-Dionysianism, but anyway.
Yeah, it's like there's 4 archangels, and they're
and they're the most important.
They're wind, water, earth, and fire. Yeah.
Yeah.
Why not?
And like, fine. That's fine. It's similar with our Hellsing episode. Angels aren't real, so you can make up whatever rules you want about them. Yeah. It's fine.
And like, this is like the simplest way to do it. God exists. Satan exists, there's demons, there's angels. What better way to have 4 archangels than they just be the elements? Perfect.
Yeah.
There's a cute little bunny messenger who comes and gives the word of God to people with a flower. Adorable.
Again, breaks the divine cosmology, because that's the archangel's job, is to send messages. They're the second lowest on the. Anyway, I'm gonna get into fucking theology here, and it's gonna break people. So, but it's fine, and you know what? You get it.
Yeah.
I think the twist is cruel. I think it is very mean. It is a mean twist in the end.
And what's the twist? Tell us what the twist is.
So our 2 leads decide that they are in love. Shinichiro, the doctor, and Kohaku, the angel. The angel abandons their post, and therefore God strips them of their power and makes them a chibi or a cherub, like a small. Do we have to explain what a chibi is?
To people who are listening to this and don't know what chibi is, it is. Imagine you must have seen like manga or anime characters where they have like huge head proportional to the body, about 1 head for 1 body, maybe even head bigger than body, a chubby little body, sometimes their little feet are just little nubs, huge eyes, tiny little mouths, adorable. In the canon of this story, the angel and demons, when they're in the non-holy version of their time, I guess, during nighttime for the angels and during daytime for the demons, they revert into a little chibi form where they're tiny and don't have a lot of powers.
Yes, they lose their power but maintain their immortality. Anyway, so Kohaku is cursed to live out this existence for 100 years, which is fine because Shinichiro accepts them no matter what and is willing to take care of them even in this form. Unfortunately, Shinichiro just suddenly dies.
Then he fucking dies.
leaving Kohaku alone to wander the earth for 100 years. It is very Greek. It's very Greek tragedy. It's very Shakespearean in its way. I don't think it is warranted. I don't really think there was enough pages to warrant that kind of ending.
I was gonna say it came out of nowhere, but it didn't. There was foreshadowing. What's his name? Kokuyo, the son of Satan. He keeps like being like, hey, something's kind of off, and he keeps trying to bring it up, but keeps getting interrupted, and he's pretty much like, what? Come on, what's happening here? I assume God is pretty much stepping in, being like, you can't reveal the twist yet. Which I think is funny. And so, yeah, they're like, oh, yeah, Suichiro, he dies. And then the son of Satan, Kokuyo, is all like, yeah, I found this, it says in this book, it's going to be his death day. Also, the reason why all the demons seem to, like, gravitate to him and like him is because we could, like, kind of feel this vibe, even though we didn't know what it meant. Because there was multiple demons living in Suichiro's house at this point. So, like, sure, yeah, explain the plot in the last chapter. Why not? I don't care. I'm just going to say, for this genre of shoujo series, this kind of thing is not out of the ordinary.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, no, this is, technically, let me see, does it say as one of its tags? Yeah, this is Shonen Ai, which, do you know what that means?
No.
This is boys love. So it's like, this genre of like, and like the girl version is Shoujo Ai, which is like girls love. So it's like soft romance. For this kind of thing, very out of the ordinary that it's like a meet cute, stuff happens, it's great, and then like the last chapter will be like sad and shit, and then there'll be like an epilogue where everything's okay and good now. Because, you know, you gotta have drama.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. Like, truly, you do need to have drama, you're right, because there is very limited drama in the rest of it. It's mostly just kind of touchy-feely. And yeah, but I like the touchy-feely stuff more.
Yeah, it's just like, oh, these two, they're just trying to figure out what they feel, and how cute, and then they figure out what they're feeling, and then it's like, psych, one of them dies, and now Kohaku has to go into like its sleep for 100 years, and then Shuichiro's descendant, I guess, he kind of gets like reincarnated, I guess.
Right, and that's another thing, that rule is not established. And I'm kind of mad about that. That's not a Catholicism. No, reincarnation.
But it's like, oh, he gets reincarnated, and they're kind of like soulmates, and whatever. My main problem is, like, I don't care. They're like, oh, his soul is the same. Suichiro's soul is the same. So it's really like loving the same person. But they do that thing where they're like, oh, yeah, I know, like, whatever. I can forgive that part. What I don't really forgive is, oh, look, he's back. Yeah, okay, now we have like an immortal angel and like a 17-year-old. Can you not?
Right. Yeah, that is a little questionable.
Which is
more than a little questionable.
Yeah, which unfortunately does not surprise me in the least, as this being a manga from Japan. Like, they've done more insane shit and so many other things, like, so I'm not surprised, I'm just disappointed. Whatever.
Yeah. Yep. Completely agree with all of that.
Yeah. So, but anyways, yeah, it's a cute little story. I have read so many of these types of stories where it's just cute little story. We have a random setting, which allows for characters to have dope outfits. The angel and demons have great outfits. They're so cool. They look great. They all float. They got wings. So pretty. And then, like, shenanigans happen, and there's always a secondary couple, which is always way more interesting than the main couple. Anyways, there is a secondary couple in this series. It's one of the archangels, Hisui, and
former
Satan's
archangel.
Son. Yeah.
Right.
And they meet and then, like, pretty much immediately fall in love. And then they're like, oh, we're both going to, like, just peace out of our domains and whatever. I guess the son of Satan can be like, sick. I'm no longer part of this. Bye. And then they just kind of live on Earth, and they're really adorable. It's great. They're like parental figures. Also, they're very pretty.
They're both very pretty, but they don't really do much in the plot.
Oh, no, nothing.
Besides showing that, like, there is an alternative to serving heaven and or hell.
Yeah, and they can, like, info dump some important things about heaven and
they're
hell.
Mostly for exposition.
They're for exposition. They're cute. They're you know, adorable couple. Like, it's slightly annoying how long it takes Suichiro and Kohaku to figure out that they like each other, but, like, that's just the genre. They can't just immediately be like, oh, hey, Sick. Let's hold hands. No, it's got to take 20 chapters, of course.
Right.
But yeah, good stuff. Do you have anything? I do have a second part to this episode. Is there anything you want to talk about before I do a hard transition into a very related but slightly different topic?
I have a question.
Yes.
If plot related, like, it confused me. Maybe I wasn't reading and right. Maybe it's the translation. So there's these two cat demons that sort of serve as like almost a Greek chorus where they'll like give an aside to the audience of, oh, this person's so hot. Ooh, they're almost kissed or whatever. And they work for a guy. Like,
they work for the demon Koryu, who is like kind of the equivalent of a demon to Kohaku as an angel. This demon guy just likes to like bully Kohaku because obviously he just does. Obviously he's got a crush on Kohaku. That's just how it works.
Right.
And he's got these two little cat girls.
What's their deal though? Like,
what do you mean? Why? Why do they exist?
Why do they exist? Why does this guy need like subservient, like, why does this guy
cat
need
girls
two
that he
people
sleeps with? Yeah.
Yeah. I just don't understand the dynamic there, I guess. I don't know. It's fine.
Better question. Why is there another completely unrelated cat that has like two personalities where they're like evil half the time?
Oh, I like that. That's like fun shenanigans though.
Yeah, but like what's the point of that?
I don't know. They wanted to draw a cat.
and thus exactly your answer for the two cat girls. They just wanted to draw two cute cat girls, and that's kind of like, you know, the girlies that turn into cats, like, you know what, they're like that vibe of like kind of annoying and really extroverted and whatever. They'd be like the kind of thing if it's like an anime and it gets translated to English, they'd end every sentence with meow. Yeah, just a trope, just how it is. They don't have a point. Most of the things in this story don't have a point, but like, who cares? It's cute, it's vibes.
my only other question, and maybe this is irrelevant also, is Shuichiro, who's his mom if it's not... like, who's his parents if they're not his adoptive father and the spirit of the forest? Another thing that is like contradictory to any religion.
It's like, oh yeah, his mom is a wisteria tree fairy, I believe, and she's blind and has some kind of powers, so can perceive Kohaku when they go back in time to see Shuichiro's mom, who is like a tree fairy, who then like dies because she turns back into a tree. She's not his biological mom, right?
No. They think they say that explicitly.
But like his dad, Shuichiro's dad, who is the husband to the lady, Hotaru. The dad, who ends up dying in a plane crash, fun facts, that's actually his dad, right? That's actually Shuichiro's dad.
I don't think so. I think they say that he's adopted.
Oh, okay. Then I have no idea who his parents are. Also, does it matter?
No, I guess not. And people get adopted in the real world.
Yeah. So, like, I don't know. It's just backstory. They want to have some time traveling shenanigans with a little bit of stakes of, oh no, Kohaku got stuck in the past. I don't know. Maybe they just want to draw another pretty girl character.
Yeah, and it's fun. I like that segment of the story too. I think,
it's
albeit weird, like time travel. You're doing Bible stuff and time travel. Okay, but like, I don't know. It was neat.
Yeah. And that part also kind of like introduces the concept of, I guess, the red string of fate. Do you know that?
Yeah, is this the first time that's... Because I know that's big in... Your Name is the biggest example of that, right? But...
It mentioned... I don't know. It mentions that in this story. Like, Hotaru, the mom, is talking about how, like, oh, she can tell that her husband is going to die because he is connected to the string attached to my fingertip. So it's, like, kind of, like, alluding to the red string of fate. You don't actually see it, like, super explicitly. Also a trope that happens, you know, soulmates, they're connected by the red string of fate, blah, blah, blah. And then I guess, like, kind of alludes to the fact that Shuichiro and Kohaku are kind of like soulmates, even though one of them's an angel, one of them's a human, you know.
Right.
They're really just pulling all types of, like, supernatural stuff because, like, it just vibes. It's just fun.
I guess. Yeah, it's fun. Yeah. It's cute.
Yeah. Good stuff. Anyways, I'm going to do a hard pivot now. Question, Jack. Have you ever heard of a series called JoJo's Bizarre Adventure?
What? No, what is this?
But have you? you familiar with JoJo's Bizarre
Of
Adventure?
course I know what JoJo is. Yes.
How familiar are you with JoJo? You ever read JoJo? You ever watched JoJo?
I've read the first volume of the first part.
Okay.
I was kind of hoping that we would cover it for this podcast, actually, eventually.
Yeah, we will eventually. Maybe we'll do part 4, because that's my favorite. It's fun. Anyways, but you can recognize the characters and stuff.
Yeah, I know who JoJo and Dio, and I know all those guys.
I know who JoJo is. Yeah.
The dog. I know there's a dog in there somewhere.
Yeah. Can you please guess why I am bringing up JoJo's Bizarre Adventure?
Oh, is it because this grandpa guy, he looks exactly like JoJo's grandpa? Is that it?
Similar. But okay, so I assume when you're talking about, who JoJo is, you're talking about part 3 Jotaro, right? The one with the hat, and he's got the pose, and he's like this badass, and he's got Star Platinum as his stand, Yeah, am I speaking words that make sense to you? Yeah. Anyways, briefly, for those of you listening who have never heard of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is a manga series by Hirohiko Araki beginning in 1987 and running to this day. I am not going to attempt to summarize what it's about because, the series is divided into multiple parts, and each part focus on a subsequent member of the Joestar family and their escapades, ranging from fighting vampires to being Italian mobsters to trying to find Jesus in America. Anyways, for now, we'll focus on arguably the most popular part, Part 3, Stardust Crusaders. And all we need to know is the main character is named Jotaro Kujo, and one of the other characters is named Noriaki Kakyoin. And on to the second part of my intro. Clamp is a mangaka group that formed in the 1980s as a doujinshi artist circle. In 1994, they published a comic called JoJo's Bizarre Married Life, a yaoi comic about Jotaro and Kakyoin having a child born from an egg that Kakyoin lays, I think. It's been a long time since I read that comic. They have a kid, his name is Jota, and he's just like a chibi version of Jotaro. And here's part of the commentary that they have at the end of a zine called Clamp in Wonderland Summer 1994, which features the last 3 chapters of JoJo's Bizarre Married Life. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is our favorite manga at Clamp right now. Also, I'm just going to read this paragraph verbatim from the JoJo Wiki. In an interview published in Clamp's XXX Holic guidebook, Tsubaki Nekoi reveals that Clamp members and Hirohiko Araki's wife, Asami Araki, frequent the same beauty salon. This led to Araki meeting the collective a number of times prior to the interview. A previous encounter with him was when they were invited to his home for a lunch party. All the dishes were homemade, including a pasta dish, which they took a photo of. They were also invited to his party for his 25th anniversary of being a manga artist. This is all to say, the ladies at Clamp greatly enjoy JoJo. Makes sense. JoJo is great. Also, Wish is a JoJo fan comic. It started a year after JoJo's Bizarre Married Life was published. I need you to look at Kohaku's hair. There is not a single other character that has ever had that hair except for Kakyoin, the character in Part 3 JoJo. And that's not a hairstyle you can replicate on accident. I will die on this hill. Also, Suichiro Kudo? Jotaro Kujo? He's a doctor. Jotaro becomes a doctor. Anyways, also his grandpa looks like old Joseph's. So, fun fact, that's the main reason we're talking about Wish today.
It's because it's a JoJo, it's an official JoJo fan comic. That's what you're saying.
Yeah. Yep. How I discovered this comic. One time my sister and I were at a secondhand bookstore, specifically the Wee Book Inn on Jasper Ave, and my sister pulled this off the shelf, and she looks at it, and she flips through it, and she looks at me, and she's like, "That's just JoJo Part 3. And I'm like, "Oh my god, it is." And this was 10 years ago. And so I've been thinking about Wish ever since. I'm so sad we didn't buy it. Should have bought it.
Yes, it was published in English. I did learn that.
Yes.
From Tokyo Pop.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is not a unique case, not even among Japanese comics, of someone taking an idea whole cloth and repurposing it, or repurposing characters and renaming them. And I think that's okay. It's fine. As the saying goes, good artists borrow, great artists steal. I've done it. I mean, I don't want to call you out, Diane, but your Gremlin comics have a remarkably not passing similarity to some of the plot points in Wish.
Okay, that was entirely not on purpose, but...
Really?
Oh, because of the chibi thing. Oh, hey, yeah, funny. No, 100% not. I actually had not read Wish in its entirety until this episode.
Really? That surprises me. Holy cow.
Whoops. Guess we accidentally made the same thing. I guess great minds think alike. Thanks.
I mean,
Clamp.
parallel thinking is real also. I'm not
Yeah.
I'm not accusing you of plagiarism. I'm just
That's so funny.
there's a remarkable similarity.
No, I had never read the entirety of Wish. All I knew about Wish is that there's a character that looked like that was Jotaro, and there's a character that was Kakyoin, and also it just never specifies what gender the angel is, because angels don't have genders. Get wrecked, I guess. Yeah, that's all I knew about Wish before this episode. I'd never read the story.
Wow. Huh.
Yeah. Oops. That's hilarious.
No.
It would have that would have been a really, really good for this episode to be like, yes, it's coming full circle. I also copied
I love
Wish.
this book. I thought you were gonna say I love this book a lot.
No. The thing I love most about this is Clamp is awesome. I wanted to not force you to read 400 chapters or something for an episode, but I wanted to read an entire series. And also I love the fact that this is just JoJo fan art. It's the best thing ever.
That makes it way cooler, I do have to say, now that I know that.
Yeah. Because, you familiar with what these JoJo characters look like?
Vaguely, yeah.
Yeah. Go search up Part 3 JoJo Kakyoin. Do you know how to spell his name? No, you don't. But just look up the main characters of JoJo Part 3 Stardust Crusaders quick.
What am I looking for?
The guy with red hair who's got the little cherry earrings. He's got earrings, and a main point about Wish is Kohaku's earrings.
Yes, okay.
Yeah.
I see it now.
Yeah. Also, Jotaro in JoJo becomes a doctor, and they're like, yeah, what if Shuichiro was just a doctor? I'm like, oh my god. Not even trying. I love it.
Again, nothing wrong with that. JoJo is just a ripoff of Fist of the North Star anyway, so...
Yeah.
The cycle continues.
Yeah. Anyways, you said earlier, you're like, I'm surprised that Clamp didn't work as, with comics before, they were them. They were actually, they did comics before they published their stuff. They did fan comics.
They did fan comics, which is, again,
doujinshi.
not an uncommon pipeline for comic cartoonists in Japan.
No, a lot of them have. I learned while researching for this episode that the creator of Yotsuba did doujinshi work before becoming a famous mangaka. And I'm like, that's sick. That would look awesome. Yeah. I mean, also, I guess you could say technically the creator of Hellsing also did that. Because some of his hentai comics are fan comics.
Right. They are not, they're two industries that are not mutually exclusive.
Yeah. And I'm just like, have you really never seen any memes? I guess you're not super familiar with JoJo, but the meme of the part from the Clamp comic, JoJo's Bizarre Married Life, where Kakyoin lays an egg. You've never seen this meme?
No, the only meme I know about JoJo is Roundabout by Yes.
Yeah. Anyways, but what is really awesome is reading a 100-page long comic by Clamp, and it's just JoJo Part 3 characters. It's great. I mean,
the egg thing sounds insane, but
it's
I'm
hilarious.
Glad that doesn't show up.
Yeah, no, it's great. I read that so long ago, and I read JoJo quite early on in my reading manga career, and I read JoJo's Bizarre Married Life pretty soon after that, I think. Probably before I'd read any actual Clamp stuff. So I think that's a very funny order of reading things.
I agree. I'm kind of amazed that you I guess the JoJo connection is enough for you to enjoy Clamp, but I don't want to put Clamp in a certain category, but that is a gateway. They are gateway artists in a lot of way for the West. If you don't start, you start with Clamp, right? You start with Cardcaptor Sakura or Chobits, and then you're sort of expected to move on to quote unquote more authentic, mature work or whatever. I don't know. I think this is good though.
But as we've discovered in the order in which I read things, or the way which I find things, is the fact that I read Real way before I read Slam Dunk. Or Vagabond or anything like that. How do I find things? I don't know. I read stuff in the stupidest order possible. You think Naruto was one of the first things I read? No.
Kind of.
I'm like, no, it wasn't. I read way more niche things and random things way before that. I feel like there's not many people who've read Trigun before they read Naruto, but anyways, hey.
I mean, again, in a way, that used to be how it worked in the West, right? you would get whatever was brought over, translated or not, and you would enjoy it because you like the aesthetic. And then you would, you'd go down rabbit holes. That is an authentic way to enjoy anything. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. Well, it's also funny because I've never read like Dragon Ball. Which is like probably like the first thing most people ever read manga-wise.
Even I've read Dragon Ball.
I like read part of Dragon Ball Super. But like,
started at the end.
But like, here's the thing, I already know what but just by existing, you already know what Dragon Ball is.
You know what it is.
You get it. Yeah, you know the story. Someone shows up and you're like, yeah, sure, that character vaguely looks like Goku. They must be related somehow. Oh, they are? What a surprise.
Right, they have spiky hair, they yell. That's, or they get it. They're
wearing a similar outfit. Yeah, whatever. They also have tails. They must be Saiyans. Whatever. Yeah. Anyways, yeah. So, anyways, back to the topic at hand. We keep getting distracted. Thoughts about, like, fan works and doujinshis and stuff like that?
Again, I'm guilty of making my own doujinshis. Guilty, as if it's, like, a immoral thing. It's cool. It's fine. One day I would like to return to Japan, and I just want to shop doujinshis. That's what going back, the cartoonist kayfabe guys, they used to go to Japan, and you can get them really cheap there, because they're printed in decently high quantities, as I understand it. Again, it's its own cottage industry. And they would just buy doujinshis that they thought looked cool or were based on Western properties, which I'm also interested in. I love when it's a different culture reinterpreting something from our pop culture, even if it is porn.
Yeah. I've read a lot of doujinshis. I'm trying to think, like, because there's also ones that exist for like Western media. I'm trying to think, because there's any what IPs.
Most notorious is the Watchmen one. The Watchmen, what is it? BL? Not BL. I mean, yes, BL. What's the more advanced BL?
Yaoi?
Yes, the Watchmen Yaoi, which I do want to get my hands on.
First Yaoi name drop of the season, probably, or of the entire show. I did not know that this exists. What characters?
All the boys.
All the boys. Lovely, nice.
Yeah. You should look that one up. That one's kind of interesting.
That's funny. You say all the boys, like there's not that many female characters. There's
one. Yeah.
There's one. But anyways, the doujinshis are great. The comic store that I frequent sometimes in Vancouver, that is awesome. That has a bunch of like original Japanese versions of comics, especially ones that have never been translated into English. I've bought a lot of stuff there. They have a section of doujinshis. Cool. It's great. You can just flip through stuff. It's super fun. Sometimes I look for ones that I've read or want. It never is. They always have a bunch of stuff of things I don't care about. So many doujinshis for sports series. Fun fact.
That does not surprise me. I mean, the popular stuff is probably going to rise to the top also, right? Like there's probably a million Dragon Ball, Naruto, One Piece especially. There's probably a million One Piece doujinshis.
One Piece,
Gundam,
JoJo,
My Hero. That makes a lot of sense, yeah.
I'm going to bash my head through a wall. You know what? Someday we're going to do My Hero Academia, and I'm going to piss a lot of people off. Not to be that person, but I was reading My Hero Academia before it was cool.
Yes.
Anyways.
I mean, the best Cowboy Bebop media outside of the original animated series is a doujinshi, is an unofficial fan work. I'll put that out there.
Sick. Cool. I don't think I'm familiar with this one either. Anyways, yeah, big fan of fan works. I think it's really cool. I think it's cool that it's not technically illegal in Japan. I think the rule they have is it's all game. You can do whatever you want unless like the original creators decide to sue you. But most of the time the original creators don't, because they're like, this doesn't compete with our actual product and it's actually good for like stuff. It's like good for publicity and stuff, and it makes people like, what greater honor is there than to have people writing fan comics about your comic?
That is very
That's so cool.
Yeah, the Japanese copyright system is weird for a Westerner. It doesn't, like, if I were to make a doujinshi of Dragon Ball, I would probably get in way more trouble than someone in Japan making a doujinshi of Dragon Ball. But it is cool that they allow that over there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and In the West, it's more like, oh, yeah, you're going to get copyright struck for putting Spider-Man on a kid's grave.
Yes.
Get wrecked. So I think it's super cool that and it's like it is a very big industry, and like
you can make a living doing it. Yeah,
make actual money and stuff. Yeah, which is like, honestly, that's what I want to do in life. That would be great. I love drawing fan art. I've drawn fan comics before. It's great. But yeah, anyways, so this is our first mention of JoJo, probably. First mention of Yaoi. First mention of, like, doujinshis, maybe.
Clamp.
Yeah.
I'm sure we're going to return to Clamp, for
Clamp,
sure.
Love Clamp. I'm sure, I brought this one because it's a shorter one, and I always feel bad being like, hey, go read 300 chapters.
I mean, honestly.
Meanwhile, you're bringing, like, an action.
My criticism of this is I think it should be longer. I think they need to flesh more stuff out in order to earn that ending, specifically.
Yeah. But, like, I'm gonna say, if I'm gonna compare this to the vast wealth of shonen ai boys love that I've read for stuff in this genre, honestly, it's kind of longer than I would expect.
Really? That's interesting.
Most stuff like this is like some of these things, they last for like a volume, maybe 2 volumes. Yeah, I mean, honestly, the ones that I think of have like 3 volumes or something, or are still ongoing, have like way deeper stories than this. This is a very non-deep story, we could say. So like, yeah, I was like surprised. I'm like, what happens in the middle chapters? I don't know.
Back in time.
This probably could have been 10. Yeah, this could have been 10 chapters, and it would have been good too. So, one of the rare times where I'm like, oh, actually, manga could have like picked up the pace.
See, I would have wanted to explore more.
Yeah.
Again, just because I'm interested in theology from a former outsider perspective. Like, I would want them to explore more about this weird version of Judeo-Christian myth. Like, I want to see more demons.
Yeah.
I want to see the different. This weird hierarchy of angels that they just made up whole cloth. I kind of want to see more of that explored. I think it's interesting, and good on them for not doing it. They don't show God or Satan or whatever their version of the devil is. Mm-hmm. He's only talked about in third person.
I was kind of expecting near the end God and Satan to show up, and they start like trying to like just have a verbal fight, because it's not going to be a full out like shonen battle fight. And then I was like, maybe they should kiss.
That'd be cool, too.
That would have been a great ending, too. That would have been a great ending, too. See.
You ever read Preacher?
No, I have not.
Okay, one day. Anyway. Kind of some similar premise.
So, like, honestly, yeah. But also, I mean, like, I hate to be the person to just say this, but, like, yeah, you're looking at the wrong type of story for that kind of stuff. I'm going to say probably, obviously, I don't know what Clamp's intentions were writing this, but I'm just going to say pretty confidently, they just kind of made that stuff up on the fly, and none of it means none of the theology stuff means anything. They just literally, they were like, I have angel character, we have to show that this angel character is, like, fancy, so it's an archangel. And that demon character, very important. Son of Satan, whatever. He just gave half his powers away with his eyeball, whatever, deal with it. This is just a little cute romance story.
Yeah,
that's all you're getting.
They just want to see a boy kissing a they them, and that's fine. You can do that. That's totally allowed. Yeah,
but you have to wait till like the last chapter when for the reincarnation happens, though. But like whatever. So yes, very shonen ai compared to yaoi. Very very soft. Good stuff. I've read so many stories that are like this, that this one is like, yeah, it's cute. Nothing about it surprised me. Good time. Love the fact that it's JoJo fan art.
That is crazy. Awesome. Is this the only, like, are there any other connections to JoJo besides this one hanging character? Like, I guess in the grandpa.
Like the two there's Jotaro's grandpa. Old Joseph is there. I thought about that when I was reading it. Okay, so there's the fact that in JoJo Part 3, one of the impetuses for the plot happening is Jotaro's mom. I am not going to explain everything, but it's vaguely plant-related, and his mom, the whole story gets kicked off by gotta go save his mom. So having his mom in this story be like a plant-based fairy who, like, can't walk is very vaguely related.
Okay. But like
That's about
JoJo, the premise hinges on people having stands, which are like ghosts that do powers.
Oh, yeah.
There's no other, like, well, no, because there's also vampires. But there's no angels or demons in JoJo, right? Yeah.
No. There's
I
Jesus,
guess there is
though.
Jesus.
We should maybe we'll do part 7 because that's part that the Steel Ball Run is hilarious, and yes, they are traveling across America looking for Jesus, but they don't know that. Anyways, JoJo's great. I'm glad that the ladies at Clamp are big JoJo fans. Great that they got to meet Araki.
Good for
That's
them.
awesome. Good for them. They could have a
Good for
house party. Yeah, that's so cool. But yeah. I had a great time with this one. Thanks for coming to this random rambling that I did. Your reaction when I brought up that we're going to talk about JoJo was the best possible thing ever. I was 99% sure you were going to have no idea that this was JoJo fan art, so I'm very glad that you were surprised.
Did not know this was JoJo fan art.
You're like, hi, sorry, we're going to take a hard left turn from talking about shoujo to JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
Funny.
Yeah. Anyways, so we read some shoujo. You think this is good shoujo?
Yeah, I think this is pretty solid.
Yeah. Sick. I will try to incorporate more shoujo for you into the show. I'm gonna try to think of some ones that I've read that are fun and relevant, and I don't have to make you read 300 chapters of something that's still ongoing from the 90s.
But those are the best ones.
That is true. Because I'm like, yeah, when I think of shoujo, you always think about stuff from, like, the 90s. Like, that aesthetic.
That's sort of the golden age.
But, like, they're still making shoujo.
Oh, yeah, of course.
And,
of course.
It's got good aesthetics. You can really feel that it's holding on to a lot of aesthetics. There are some shoujo aesthetics that do not show up in Clamp work that I want us to talk about because I have thoughts. It's like of the visual drawing styles that are, I think, I would say even more deeply ingrained in shoujo art style than anything Clamp does. So definitely bring that at some point because, yeah, it's interesting. But I'll find you some more stuff. I mean, if you have any shoujo you want to talk about, you can also let me know. And
I've got at least 2 off the top of my head that I want to cover. But
excellent.
Yeah, we'll save those.
Yeah. After you talk about Watchmen.
The never-ending battle.
Yeah. But hey, we name-dropped Watchmen this episode. We name-dropped
That's
Baki.
crazy, actually. I was like, oh, we're not going to talk about Watchmen today. No, immediately you bring up the 9-paddle grid, and then we're talking about Watchmen porn comics.
Yeah. Everything in comics is interconnected. It's great.
Yes, truly. That's awesome.
All right. You got any last thoughts about Wish? Or shoujo, or fan comics, or any of the million things we talked about and rambled about today?
I wanted to touch on, I mean, I do want to touch, I want to talk of theology so bad, and it's rubbing my brain. So the son of the devil shows up in this, right?
Yeah.
Now, the devil's, like, not really in the Bible. The devil's sort of been invented by pop culture. He's not really a character in the Bible so much. Like, Satan is mentioned in the Bible maybe once or twice or alluded to, but like the translation of Satan from Hebrew and Latin, it just means enemy. So maybe when Jesus says, "Get behind me, Satan," he's just talking about, like, he's using a metaphor. Like, most sects of Judaism will straight up tell you that hell is not real, that it is metaphor. At least I believe that's in the Kabbalah. They pretty much disregard hell whole cloth. There's a character, there's like demons sort of mentioned in the Bible, one of which is Belial, which roughly translates to son of wickedness, which so there is sort of a son of Satan in the Bible, but it's, again, maybe it's just a metaphor. So I think it's interesting that the son of Satan in this, he's not evil. He's just a guy who's in love with another guy. Yeah. And he's nice.
Yeah. I think this is like, well, he's like more somber than like the angels. He's more like kind of, you know how it is. But
he's like edgy, I guess.
Yeah, he's edgy. And like, that's not out of character for how especially in series like this, but even different, not specifically romance shoujo series, how angels and demons are depicted. If it's not like a manga series that's specifically about like heaven fighting hell, usually like demons are like that kind of character not shown as evil. They're just like, hey, that person was just, or that being was born a demon, and that being was born an angel, and that's just how it is. And now they have heaven and hell powers, and then it just causes a drama for their relationship because they can't be together.
Just can't be together.
Elope to Earth. Yeah.
Because the order of the cosmos deems them enemies, even though again, it's all made up. It's not real.
Yeah. Also, I'm sorry to tell you, my guy, but this is the wrong series if you want to talk about the actual theology.
but why don't they reference it then? Why don't they know? Like, I'm not a theologist. How come I know this stuff and they don't?
Because this is a boys' love comic that is based on JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
Yeah, I mean, that is the answer. It's because it's a group of girls who wanted to see cute boys and they-thems kissing. And that's fine.
Exactly.
That's totally legit. And it's good.
I should just bring another series next time that it has vaguely like theology themes and just make you go insane for an hour, which I might do because I have one that would be great.
I'm sure the Jesus that shows up in JoJo is so close to
exactly
to the New Testament. I'm sure it's really accurate.
It's probably closer to Mormonism, I think. But anyways, maybe next time we're going to do Saint Young Men, and I'll make you go insane about theology if you have any idea what that is. But maybe we'll do that next time. That would be fun. I'll make you go insane about angels again.
Cool.
But yeah,
I'm down. I mean, I'm down.
Yeah. We're down. Jack went insane talking about theology when all this really was just pretty people kissing. Thanks for listening. You can find me, Diane, on Instagram at @onelittlegremlin. That's _little_gremlin.
And you can find me, Jack, at Phantom Power Press, spelt with an F, on Bluesky and Pinksky.
If you'd like to follow the show, you can do so on Bluesky and Pinksky at panelpalspodcast.bsky.social. All of our links are in the show notes. If you like the show, please rate and review on your podcast provider of choice. Panel Pals is a Jack Stewardson, Diane Hitchings co-production with editing by Jack Stewardson. Our musical theme is Found by Stemchamp.